One of my favorite graphics we'll show you throughout the course of Big Ten Volleyball Media Days as we work our way through the Rutgers roster and show you just how worldly the Scarlet Knight roster is. We have Texans, Floridians, Serbians, Cornhuskers, Arkansans. We have Michiganders, couple from Ohio. We have a Canadian. We have a Hoosier, a Georgian, an Alabaman. One player from the state of New Jersey on that roster. And yes, that international flavor, as you see there, both Serbia and Canada as well. Caitlin Schweihofer is in charge of all those different players and all those different flavors. Welcome in. That's kind of cool. We should send that to you and your staff for recruiting purposes.
I know. This is definitely my vision coming to life, so I like seeing that on screen.
How did that come to be recruiting and landing so many different athletes from so many different states and countries?
Yeah, well, when I took over the team, it was heavily international based. And so for me, I really wanted to build the brand domestically. And we've spent the last 5 years doing that, forming relationships with a lot of different clubs, club directors, and then really trying to hone in on different areas of the country that I had relationships with, or my staff had relationships with, and now my players have relationships with. So as you can see, there's a few pockets that we have multiple players from, but it's just showing how much the Rutgers brand is expanding throughout the United States.
All of this with the goal to win at the end of the day. And I know that there weren't enough wins for you and this team in 2024 to be satisfied with. So as you look back upon what was a challenging year for your program, what do you take away spinning forward into 2025?
Yeah, I've kind of told anyone that has asked me that same question that we were almost the JV team playing the varsity, because we had majority of our team were freshmen and sophomores, and still having the fifth years, that was something that was a big challenge. When I first took over this program, I never anticipated players playing for 5-6 years. And so it was a great experiential year for us. There was a lot of different challenges that were in front of us. And if you look at not just the win and loss record, but actually the scoreboard of how much more competitive we were in certain matches and how we actually won a ton of first sets. And it tended to be towards the end of the match where things fell off, which can happen with a younger team. So I think this group now has taken last year and those difficult losses into a really confident presence for this upcoming season.
Do you feel like you have already seen that maturation process taking place with some of those younger players as they get a little bit older, understand maybe more than just the physical aspect of the game that they're playing?
Absolutely. This team is closer than ever, and this is finally the first year where everyone has been recruited by me and my coaching staff. So there's definitely that relationship that was built before they even got into Rutgers that makes it a lot easier to talk about things that are not just volleyball, but things that are also off the court. We took a foreign trip this year, which is a great jumping off point for this team. And it was the first ever foreign trip that Rutgers volleyball had ever taken. So it was something that was really, really special and a goal of mine that I had from when I first took on. But we played a lot of professional teams and even the U21 Italian team, and we were able to take a set from them. And so it was really great experience. Tell us more about the trip. Where were the places that you went? What were some of the best experiences? Yeah, we started in Serbia, so we got to go to the hometown of Emma Grimanov when she really enjoyed getting to meet her family, who I had never met before. And then we made our way to Slovenia, Croatia, and ended in Italy. So it was a wonderful 10, 12-day trip. What did you think about the level of volleyball that you guys played over there and the competition that you faced? All different levels. So we played some younger teams, and then obviously playing that U21 Italian team, which has a lot of professional players within it. We got to really see, and that was our last match of the trip. So we won a ton, and I think that built confidence, but also getting to be challenged at the end was really important. Let's talk a little bit about the players that you have with you today. We start with Kenzie Dierstad. Mm-hmm. What are you expecting from her, both in terms of production and leadership for your team in 2025? Yeah, so Kenzie played the libero role last year. That's something that she'll compete again for this year as well. She was named a captain as a sophomore, so she will continue on that role into her junior year. Lexi, who's with us, will also be a captain for this season. And so I think that Kenzie getting the playing time that she did over the last season, having the libero jersey pretty much the entire season, now she's really confident in that role. Lexi, she's played a bunch of different positions in terms of defensive specialist, outside hitter, and now this year she's really honed in on being a true 6 rotation outside. She almost broke the ace record for us last season. So I think that's a huge goal for her this year.
I was going to say, in addition to her being a phenomenal server, what other areas do you need to see maybe her take a next step to become the player that she's capable of becoming?
Obviously scoring, right? Kill percentage needs to go up. Last year we were really successful from a serve and pass ratio. Our blocking numbers were outstanding. Natalie Robinson broke our blocking record as a freshman, and she is returning this season as well. We added really quality transfers on both pins, on the outside and the right side. So I think that was in lieu of us needing to score more points. Obviously to win games, we've got to score more points. So that's something that we really focused on, was our offensive tempo and what type of system we wanted to play over this spring.
I think Exhibit A of just how young you were a year ago, both players that represented your school here at Media Days a year ago are actually still on your roster.
Still on the team, right?
Zora Hardison and Allie Bareilles. So what do you expect from those two, as I don't want to say grizzled veterans, but they're players who have now been through it and done it for you for multiple years?
Yeah, we only graduated one starter this past season. Obviously, Alyssa Kinkilla was a huge presence offensively and defensively from a blocking standpoint. But replacing her was something that we knew was going to have to come on the opposite. But Zora has really gotten super comfortable both in front and behind the setter. She's an outstanding blocker, and adding Corey Crocker, who played middle at Michigan, onto our staff, and she was also in the national team gym. She's taken an interest in helping develop our outsides, or excuse me, our middles and our pins.
Everyone goes into the portal these days, but your journey was a little different because you have 5 transfers incoming, 4 from major conferences, but I think only 1 actually played indoor last year. So how did that kind of come about?
Well, actually the opposite of that. So we have 1 that played beach.
1 that played beach,
yes,
I'm sorry.
That's
one
okay.
played beach.
And she's a local from New Jersey. So that was something that was really exciting. She was on the ones pair at Washington.
Yep.
And what I was really interested in Lauren was because her partner, wherever she was always younger. She was always the more veteran player. And I thought that she could really bring that leadership dynamic onto our team. And her parents have been at a lot of our games in the past when she wasn't even on the team. So I love having a local player. And then, the other transfers, they bring the experience of the leagues they played in and the conferences they played in, and now try and translate that into being successful in the Big Ten. So I wouldn't say that we are the tallest team in the Big Ten. I wouldn't say that we are the oldest team in the Big Ten, the most experienced. But I was actually asking one of our players the other day for a mantra for this year of like what we think, and we really are such a team. And our key to success this year is really just out-teaming the other players in the Big Ten.
So is that the mantra, to out-team?
I think so, out-team. I like it.
Does that have a hyphen in it, or is it one word?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it says on our warm-up shirts.
Our graphics people are ultimately going to have to know before they can put it on at Rutgers games. I like to talk schedule with everyone. There are rough stretches for everybody, but you guys open conference play at Minnesota and at Wisconsin. You're followed by a 2-match home set that includes a visit from Nebraska. So the start is going to be really tough inside league play. How do you kind of approach it like that when you look at a 4-game span and it could, in one way or another, be something of a tone setter for your conference season?
Yeah, I scheduled our non-conference schedule leading into that in a way that prepares us to go over 500 on the season. That's something that we have not done in the past. So that's really a key program goal, to at least be eligible to have a chance to make the NCAA tournament. So that's what our non-conference schedule looks like. And then leading in with those 2 matches, 3-4 matches right away, obviously that is a big challenge, but there's a lot of exciting things. We're selling tickets for the first time ever in Jersey Mike's Arena. So we're in line with the rest of the league and conference doing that. And so, I think this team is ready to face any opponent that's on the other side of the net. It's less about the name. It's more just about how we prepare ourselves to play them.
I'm glad you brought up that 500 conversation, because it's now a conversation we've been having for a couple of years. Inside this league, it is so tough. And if you decide to play a tough non-conference, you put yourself in a position where even if you play well in this league, you could be an RPI team that is absolutely worthy of getting into the NCAA, but not get in because of eligibility rules. How does that conversation continue when you start to look at the evolution of what conferences like the Big Ten have become?
I think it's tough. I have to do my job as where our standing is in the Big Ten to make sure that I help the overall RPI of the league so that more teams are eligible to make it, whether it's us or our opponents. We want as many Big Ten teams in the NCAA tournament every year as possible. I think the RPI as a whole is outdated, and we need to look at different ranking systems and how we make these selections. It's hard because I know, and when everyone asks what our standing is in the Big Ten compared to what we would be like if we were in another league, it might not look the same. So I think that there needs to be more respect that's not just based on an RPI number, where you really can game that in different ways.
I want to go back to Jersey Mike's and selling tickets for the first time and feeling like you have a home environment where it is not just a home court advantage, but a place where people want to go and spend their evenings and their free time. What's that felt like as the kind of momentum, not just with your program, but as women's volleyball as an overall sport that people are enjoying, whether it's on TV or in person, has improved?
The growth of volleyball in the Northeast region has been tremendous. We've seen it from our camp numbers. We've seen it from our attendance. We've just seen it in our followers on Instagram. And just the interest in this team and this program has definitely become one of those that is key to our region, and people are interested. We had a goal number to reach when it came to our attendance on a yearly basis before we got to a point of selling tickets, and we hit that goal. And so I'm excited to see where that brings. And obviously from a revenue generating opportunity, that's something that our program is really excited about, the opportunity to be able to offer that back to the institution. I
know you mentioned 500 or better. At the end of the year, is that the ultimate goal that makes this a success for you and this team?
I think you have to have team goals, right? I think that it's important to have team goals. To say that all of our success is based on a 500 record, no. But I do think that's something that we really have to aim for this season. Also, I always say every year I'd like to beat a team that our program has never beaten before. So those teams know who they are. But
shout out to you if you're watching.
Yeah, we're coming for you. But I think that that's something that we want to really, really make sure is the next step for us, so that all the players that are on this program have asked me, what's my long-term goal? And my long-term goal obviously is to make the NCAA tournament, to be a regular standing, participant in the NCAA tournament. And we have to be over 500 per the rules to do that. So,
Kaylin, we appreciate the time. Wish you and your players the best of luck this season.
Appreciate it.
And speaking of those players, a pair of Rutgers student athletes are standing by as we check in once again with Elena and Holly.
Thanks so much, Rick. We're joined this time by Kenzie Deersad and Lexi Vizentine. Welcome to Big Ten Media Days. We're so happy to have you here with us. I know this isn't the farthest you've traveled this summer to Chicago. You guys went on a foreign trip to Europe. What was that like? What were your favorite parts of that trip?
Oh, going to Europe was insane. It was one of the coolest things I've ever done. Italy was probably my favorite country we got to see. It was so exciting getting to see different cultures, different styles of volleyball, and just like getting a team bond.
Yeah, I agree. I would say getting to see the styles of play and the culture. My favorite was Slovenia. I really enjoyed that, and it was just a cool experience.
How bonding was this trip for your team?
Yeah, I mean, it was huge. We had a lot of new people coming in, few transfers. We were lucky enough to have them with us. And it was so cool just to be able to eat with them, talk to them, just experience new things, because that just builds memories together.
Kenzie, I know you've grown up around the sport. How does that fuel your passion for the game?
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Nebraska, huge volleyball sport, obviously. Just everything that I do was like super big surrounding volleyball, and I mean, it translates to playing in the Big Ten. But yeah, it's super cool.
Lexi, we've seen you take on a couple different roles so far in your career at Rutgers. Play defense, you're obviously a fantastic server. How do you kind of embrace being that versatile player and being able to be thrown in and be more utility whenever the team needs you?
I would say I always just try to do what's in the best interest of my team. If they need me in back row, I'm going to give it my all in back row or front row, and just embrace any position and try to help the team as best as I can.
You led your team last year offensively. Your coach talked about improving your hitting percentage. What have you worked on to do that?
I would say, expanding my toolbox with different shots. Obviously I'm not the tallest hitter out there, so I think finding ways to using the other team's block and being crafty would be huge. So.
In this conference, wins and losses, the margin's this big. How do you push those close losses into victories?
Yeah, I mean, like Coach was saying earlier, we've been really focusing on out-teaming other people, because there's always going to be some player who's stronger, taller, faster. So really working on out-teaming other teams.
Kenzie, what are you working on most in your game heading into this season? It's never easy to play in the back row in this conference with the hitters that you're going up against, but is there anything you're specifically focused on in your game?
Yeah, specifically, I want to work on more scouting, especially when we're watching teams, finding hitting tendencies and focusing on those. And then for me personally, just working on doing things that are very repeatable. So on serve receive, doing the same thing over and over again. So then when I get to games, it's easily translated.
Lexi, what about you? Anything you're specifically working on heading into the season?
I would say blocking and just making my serve overall more consistent.
Lexi, you're known as a fantastic server. Do you have a special routine that you developed a while ago that you stay with? And how did that come up?
I usually take 6 steps from the end line, like every time, so I know I'm in the right spot. And then I practice my serving tosses like right before the game to make my tosses more consistent. So those are the 2 things I do.
And what's your mindset when you go back to the service line?
I usually try and get like the first couple like over an N, and then after a while I like ramp up like the speed and intensity, but yeah.
Having played in this conference for a couple years for both of you, are there any matchups you're most looking forward to on the season? I know obviously it's one match at a time, but Kenzie being from Nebraska, I have to imagine going back to Nebraska is up there. I'd love to hear from both of you if there are any specific matchups.
Yeah, well, obviously, like you said, Nebraska is always a big one for me. All my friends and family will text me back home whenever we're playing. But, I mean, honestly, any team in the Big Ten is super cool to play against. You get to play against some of the best teams in the country. So, honestly, any of them.
I would say UCLA and USC just because we haven't been there, and I think going to California would be super cool.
What have you guys been doing this summer?
Lots of strength training, a few open gyms here and there. We just finished up our camps. We had a crazy amount of campers for our overnight camp. So just really working on team bonding and getting back into the swing of things.
And what do you learn about your game when you're coaching young players?
Well, a few of my teammates, they like to say that the best way to learn the game is through coaching. So just like noticing like technique things, I think that's really huge. And especially when you're watching little kids and they don't always like to talk all the time, like it really like amplifies how important it is to like talk when you're playing.
Did you coach as well?
Yes, but I also did an internship this summer, which I think was a good experience for me in like the corporate world. So I was really grateful for that.
Tell us about that.
Well, the company's called iConnective in New Jersey, and I was just doing research for their customers and building like a portfolio for them. So I really appreciate their patience in welcoming me. So yeah.
Nice.
In your careers so far at Rutgers, how have you seen yourself grow the most? Thinking back when you were a freshman and you first walked on campus, either on the court, off the court, as a person and a player, how have you grown the most?
Yeah, I would say I've definitely grown in my confidence in myself and who I am as a person, especially moving very far away from home. I kind of had to figure out how to live by myself. I'm not with my parents anymore, so just figuring out how to be independent in those situations.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say the mental aspect of the game I've grown a lot in. Like when I was a freshman, I think it was a huge shock playing in front of like so many people, and I would get really tense, but now I feel a lot more confident when I step out there, and yeah.
Your coach talked about you guys being on the young side last season. Now you're a little bit older, a little bit wiser. You are both captains. What are you trying to tell your team coming into this season to kind of get over that hump and get over 500?
Yeah, especially in open gyms, we've been really trying to harp on doing the little things now in practice. So especially when you're playing in front of thousands of fans, you can be able to repeat and do the same things that you've been doing in practice. And you can use the practice reps as confidence to fuel you for in games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. And I would also say like being intentional during practice and taking every rep seriously goes a long way. So.
All right, one last question. Just kind of thinking about your Rutgers career so far, what has been your favorite part of being a Rutgers volleyball student athlete?
My favorite part of being a Rutgers student athlete would have to be just the different experiences that I've been exposed to. I mean, we're 45 minutes from New York on a train ride. We're like 45 minutes from the beach. Coming from Nebraska, there's so many more things to do here. Concerts are very easy to like be able to go to, so just the experiences.
Mm-hmm. I would say that, and I made some of my best friends on the team and lifelong friends, so I'm really grateful for that.
Well, Kenzie, Lexi, thank you so much. Can't wait to watch you this season.
Thank you.
Rick?
Thank you both very much. When we come back, we turn our attention to Minnesota. Keegan Cook's team highly regarded heading into this season. One of the best up-and-comers in Julia Hansen. What will 2025 have in store for the Gophers? We'll find out from the head man right after the break.